Howdy, and welcome to What I Wish I Could Say, the heartfelt, humorous podcast hosted by me, April Spencer. Today, we are talking about The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Season 3, Episodes 7 and 8, and we are joined by our guest star, Madison Leigh Attrell. What's new,
Hello.
Madison?
Oh, so much. These last couple of months have been insane. As you know, just got married, so
Ah!
yes. Very exciting. So it's just been crazy with that and honeymoon vacation and then work and holidays and it's just all the stuff. But it's been good and married life so far has been wonderful. So I really um, really enjoying it, but I'm also really enjoying not having to deal with wedding planning anymore because that's not the greatest. That's not the most fun. Um, so I'm happy to be over that hump, and now we just get all the fun holiday plans and stuff. So
Well, you guys did a great job with your wedding planning. I know it was stressful, but your wedding was beautiful and super fun.
thank you.
So I'm super happy for you guys, and I'm so glad to hear that your honeymoon went well and married life is going well. Yeah, so congratulations. That's a really big update.
Yeah, it is a big update. So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. Hopefully, there's no more crazy big news like that for a little while. But yeah, having fun.
Good. What's new with me? I have three big things this week. Yeah, it's been a lot. So since the last podcast, the first one is my Mimi passed away. So I'm going to say I dedicate this episode to Mimi. She was my dad's mother, my grandmother, and she had dementia for the past few years. So, and like her physical health was always really good, but it was kind of like part of me felt like, you know, she was already kind of starting to go, because like she kind of like sometimes got me mixed up with other people, and like just her memory was just really going quickly.
I'm so sorry. That really sucks. Like I know that disease is the worst. So I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, but I'm I'm so glad she was my Mimi, and I feel like, I'm a very like spiritual person. I definitely believe in like the afterlife and everything. And like the day she died, Philip and I went out to eat, and we had our dogs with us at this like brewery that had like this outdoor area. And this cat who looked exactly like my Mimi's cat, Sophie, came up to our table and like literally was like cuddling on us and like letting us pet it with the dogs there. It was not scared of the dogs. And it looked exactly like Sophie. And I just like really felt like it was Mimi telling me like she made it, like she's okay.
That's so
So
cute.
that brings me
Yeah.
a lot of comfort. Um, so yeah, that's one big one. The other one, I knew this when we were recording the other podcast with Sarah, my sister, but she has since announced that she's pregnant and she has a little girl. So my little girl Violet is going to have another little girl cousin. So that's exciting. Um, and then the third one is I quit my job. Yay!
Woo!
So yeah, those are. I hope I don't have like you another week with like that many big updates anytime soon. But yeah.
Mm.
Um,
And happy birthdays are in order.
oh yeah, I also turned 33 yesterday. Did my glucose test today for gestational diabetes. So fingers crossed. There's a lot going on.
Only good vibes.
Only good vibes. Yes. So, let's go to our memories. So this is something I like to do with everybody because I feel like this podcast is really about like my connection with my friends and family. And it's like we just use talking about pop culture as a way to like, connect and like get to know each other better. So, what I like to do is just like talk about a memory that we have of each other to kind of like demonstrate. our connection and how we know each other. My memory of Madison is the first time I met you when we went over to Luke's house, and Luke did not tell us this was Luke's birthday. Luke is Madison's now husband, then boyfriend. Luke did not tell us that Madison was going to be there until like 5 minutes before we got there. Um,
Not surprised. Not surprised in the slightest.
and we were all shocked because like Luke and my husband Philip have been best friends since like elementary school, and Luke just like didn't. I don't think I ever met any of his like anybody he'd ever dated before, and so it was like this huge shock that he's like, oh, there's like a girl here like that I invited, and so it's like what? But yeah, we came in and we do this thing. Well, Philip does this thing where he brings all these medieval swords that he's collected over the years, and he will bring like fruit and take it to someone's house, and it's like a big fun bonding ritual. Well, they will just like take the swords and cut up all the fruit and do like crazy jumps and like take videos and all kinds of stuff. So we were doing that in Luke's backyard, and I was like, this girl is going to think that we're all insane. um, but you were like really like supportive, but also you were really practical, and you were like making sure that we like cleaned everything up right, and you were like, strategizing about the best way to do it to like not mess up Luke's yard and everything. And I was like, our friend group really needs this energy. Like
Oh,
this is great. So yeah, that's my first memory of you, Madison.
oh, that's great. That's actually really funny. Yeah, I do remember that because I was just looking at it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's real life Fruit Ninja,
Yeah.
and I was like, these because it's he doesn't bring little fruit. He brings like the big juicy watermelons and cantaloupes and stuff. And like I think that the ones that he brought were on like super sale because they were like half rotten and all sorts of stuff. So you knew that they were going to be gross and juicy. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be a lot of fun to try to mess like just make a big mess." But it was great. It was a great time, and um I think that we were all a little covered with watermelon and all that after that. But
Definitely.
and and fun fact is that I think it was like on the 5th of July or something like that. But we had been like going out, but not official because it took forever for Luke to actually like say that he wanted things to be official. So maybe that's why he didn't tell anybody yet. I don't know, but
Maybe,
it's a
maybe.
it's a boy thing. Yeah. Well, yeah, no, that was the one of the ones that was the memory that I was going to talk about. I think that the first time meeting, um, it wasn't for. Did you say it was for Luke's birthday? If it was for
That's what
Philip's,
it must have been Phillips
it was
actually. Yeah, you're
Philip's.
right, because it was yeah, in like July, that would be right around Philip's birthday.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I think it might have been his 30th birthday, and it went to go do the VR game down the
Right.
road.
Yeah.
And usually I'm pretty okay at things like that, but I'd never done a VR thing before, so I like had all this pressure and I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're going to think that I'm a bad like gamer and judge me and all this stuff cuz like I know that you don't like wear glasses, but like before I got LASIK and had glasses, the glasses on top of the VR like you can't see anything." And
Right.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, Philip's going to hate me because I keep on getting our team killed." And yeah, so it was a lot of fun, but yeah, it was like this is a great time, and we had fun with doing that and playing the games. And I think that um there were a couple of other friends there, and I think that we like really had a girl bonding moment because I think it was like a girls versus we did one that was like girls versus boys with like the card games. I think it might have been like I think it was either Cards Against Humanity or no, because that's not a team game. My brain is blanking, but the one where you have to get all the words code names. I think
Oh
that we played.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah, yeah,
played
yeah.
that, and that was a lot of fun. And we kind of teamed up against the boys, and I'm pretty sure that we demolished them. So I was like, okay, we got a little bit of a comeback, and I think everybody had a good time, and the boys were having fun, and I enjoyed it. It was really cool.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad you had fun. I'm so sorry. I had no idea about the glasses and everything. Like, and I had no idea that you were like stressed. But yeah, me and Ronnie for sure, we are not.
Yeah.
gamer people at all, and we just like don't care if it affects our husbands at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were never gonna like be mad at you or judge you or anything, but
I fun times.
um, yeah, no, I'm glad you had a good time. We all did too. And we were just really proud of Luke that he was finally like settling down and like finding a girl.
Yeah.
Because yeah, so that was great. Um, okay, good.
Yeah.
Well,
I got lucky with him. He's a fun one. So
he is. Yeah, he's the best. Okay, so we've got episode 7 and episode 8. Are you ready to get started?
let's dive in.
Lovely. Okay. So episode 7 is starts with Stagecoach,
Right. Yep.
and a lot of stuff happens at Stagecoach. So what I was thinking I would do is just kind of go through the characters and like what's going on with them, and like get your opinion on what you thought like at that moment at the beginning of episode 7.
Okay.
So starting with Jordan and Jesse. Um, Jordan was being really nice to Jesse at the beginning of like, like being really supportive, taking pictures and like all this kind of stuff. But I was not buying it. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, without going into like the other future episodes and stuff, like I want to say that I feel like he was trying, but at the end of the day, like his wife is a influencer type thing. Like it's taking pictures is probably not something that is super out of the norm for him. So I'm like, how much effort is that actually? Like it is very sweet, but I'm like, I think that they have bigger problems and all of that. So I'm not sure if in my book that would be counted as a happy face for him next to some of the other things that they were talking about before about, their relationship. But I mean, at least they're trying, right?
Right. I
I
think
don't
it,
I'm
go
with you
ahead.
though. I'm with you though. I'm not really buying it, but
Yeah, and I think if I recall, the reason I put that here is because I think the last episode before this, it was either episode 5 or episode 6, ends with him doing the whole barbecue thing where he like invites everybody over to Jesse's house except for
yeah.
Jesse to like try to turn them against her or something.
Yeah.
And it's like that went so poorly for him. I felt like this was him trying to like be nice and like make up for it without really taking accountability.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was a little sketch. Okay, so this is also where Taylor and Dakota, there's the girl that comes up to Dakota and starts flirting with her. What were your thoughts on that whole drama?
Wow. He just no. Like she just needs to stop. Like
Yeah,
drop him, be done with him. I understand he's your baby daddy. And I mean, I think that she, in her heart of hearts, feels this, but like, use this as a learning. Like, yeah, no, he needs to. She just. I was surprised that she got so upset because I thought that they were pretty solid on the we're just gonna be like have a co-parenting relationship, and
right.
then yeah, the events that conspired after that, I'm just like, no. Like I was rooting for you guys finding a functional adult relationship to take care of the baby and do all of that. I'm like, and it's like 5 steps forward and then a giant step back with the that. So I'm not sure how you felt about it, but it was a little disappointing.
Oh, I was so disappointed. I literally just have like Taylor, don't like when she got so mad at him
Yeah,
and like so visibly mad at him and like provoked this reaction from him. Like I was thinking about it and I was like, if I was in that situation with Philip, like God forbid, if we had like broken up and somehow we were at the same event and some girl was talking to him and then I like suddenly got super mad at him about it and tried to like make him feel guilty about it, I think he'd be like, leave me alone. We're not dating. Like we're not
yeah,
together. Like
yeah,
that would have been the healthy response. But it's like I see their pattern so well now, like from those scenes, because it's like she gets jealous and angry. she projects that emotion all over him instead of like owning it herself.
Mm-hmm.
And his response to it is like, "Oh, I wasn't doing anything." Like, and he like plays right into it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and instead of being like, "We're not together, dude. Like, I can do whatever I want." Um, so
You
yeah,
can't
and go ahead.
you can't have it both ways. Like you can't decide we're not together and then get upset whenever, other people are involved or there's yeah, no, I mean, and I think that in like his past and just how he's been with other girls and all of that, like I feel like she's been so sad about this so many times that I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like whenever something happens over and over and over again that makes me upset, whenever like there's a level of just like, okay, like I'm not surprised anymore. Like I'm not like at what point do you stop getting like upset because it's not new news type of thing. So
Right.
I thought that she had reached that point of like he's just being him. Like I thought I was expecting that because I like wrote on my thing like on my page like I was Team Taylor. She was doing great, and then the girl and she lost her like she lost it. I was like, man, I was like, you have done so much over this season of like personal growth and like trying to figure things out and like really doing all of it, and then that I felt like was a flashback to old Taylor, old Wiz.
100%. Yeah. I think he really does. Like all of her friends say it the same thing. Like he brings out the worst in her. They bring out the worst in each other. And it's just unfortunate. Yeah, and I thought it was funny. Like I'm sure that the family member she talked about who had cancer, like I'm sure that that like is really hard. At the same time, my the vibes I was getting when she kept being like, I did this because I was really upset about my family member having cancer. I was like, that's kind of an excuse, I think. Like I feel like you have done this so many times, like, and you're just looking for some reason that you can justify why this time's different.
I,
But it's the same pattern.
yeah, and I think that she had like that little smirk thing, like whenever, cause like
Yeah,
she's like, yeah. I think that her, yeah, I don't think that she was thinking with her head
not at all. Not at
or
all.
her heart.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Just to be 100% clear.
Yeah,
No, I agree. Yeah, the way I see it with them is Dakota is just, to be crass, just looking for a hole. Like that's what his life is.
yeah,
He's always just looking for any available holes. And I feel so bad for Taylor because instead of seeing that as like, ooh, that person is unhealed and
yeah,
like not for me, she
yeah,
like takes it as a challenge, you know? Um,
yeah.
it's a huge bummer. Um, and it's like, I think that she has a lot of really good qualities. I don't think there's any shortage of things to like about Taylor. But I also kind of think to be, the way that she is, she's a leader, she's a star, she's a self-possessed person. It's like to be that way at such a young age, you have to go through some things, and it's like you see the good, the bad, and the ugly with her.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. It's a bummer, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then the last group of characters that the big one from Stagecoach, I think, is Jace and Michaela.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts about them?
Um, so I like Jace. I thought like I feel like he is supportive, and so just to give you like a little bit of background, Luke watched episodes say like 7, 8, 9, I think with me, um, and he had like he's a dork, but he had his ranking. He had like this web page up with like a ranking system of like do I like are they my vibe? Do I like them? Do I not like them? Do I not care about them? Like all these things. So like before like the episode started, I was like, okay, yeah, we do like them. We don't really like them. And I remember like whenever he was seeing that and we were seeing that, he's like, he's my vibe. He's great. And like I was like, yeah, you're and it went from him saying Taylor sucks, and I was like, okay, no, you don't, like episodes 1 through 6, like she did really good job. Like this is just like a downfall, and he's like, oh no, she sucks. I was like, no, no, like we put it on hold. But like this one, I was like, no, you're right. Like he's a vibe the entire season. I feel like he's been really supportive, and I feel like she's going through some hard stuff, obviously, and I feel like he's doing his best um, to be supportive. Um, and I think that he wants, like, I could see a little bit of it, like he wants her to talk, and maybe like trying to push her to talk, and she's not ready for it. But I also, like, based on some of the conversations he had, like he was sharing like, well, she'll lose the motivation to do work on herself. So I think that a little bit of that may have come off as pushy, I feel like was more so of, let me try to get like her to talk and her to open up and like tell me all these things that are really bothering her, and all of that. So I really liked him, and I thought that he was very mature, and um, I think that she's just kind of going through stuff, and it's like rough for her, and want her to, like, I want her to be able to, I want their relationship. I know that like all the people on here have had troubles with their relationships with their spouses and all that, and I'm like, I'm really rooting for them to kind of figure it out and pull through. And it was just, I think that some of her treatment of him made me a little sad,
Hmm.
because he
Like what?
just, like, there was at one point like where she just stopped talking to him and like just cut him off and didn't say anything. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just really good editing with like the production company, like, but like all the things, like they'd like zoom over to him in the distance, like looking sad and being by himself and like all this stuff. Like I felt bad for him, and yeah, it was funny. He said, Luke said that poor Jace, if he was on the East Coast, he would be in an emo band writing songs and playing the piano. And I'm like, like that kind of is the vibe, because I feel like he's just so sad and maybe a little bit lost about like what can he do to help. And yeah, that's kind of my take.
No, yeah, that's a good take. Yeah, he does seem sad, and I totally agree that like of the three couples we've talked about so far, Taylor and Dakota, Jordan and Jesse, I'm definitely rooting for Jason and Michaela the
Yeah,
most.
yeah, yeah,
Um, I think that they both show like that they do really care about each other, and there's like healthy dynamics in their relationship.
yeah,
I think I I see both sides with them. I feel like the most heartbreaking thing about it is every time Michaela has a talking head, she talks about the intimacy issues that they're having as like her problem.
yeah,
She like completely puts it all on herself.
yeah.
And I don't think that's fair because I I don't know if you've heard like about how they met and everything. Do you have any background on that?
I don't think so, and if I did, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, so my understanding is that, she was sexually abused when she was like younger than 10.
Yeah,
And she talks about that and it's horrible.
yeah,
She also says that she was sexually abused again in a separate situation when she was 15, which is not uncommon. A lot of people that have been sexually abused once, like they're way more likely to fall into a like predator situation again. And so horrible.
yeah.
She met Jace when she was 16. He was 21.
Oh, I feel like this is kind of coming back to me. They like were going into it in episode, like, sorry, like season one.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's coming back. Yeah,
Yeah. And I feel like that is missing from the whole conversation in season 3 that like
yeah,
he was 21. They knew each other for like a month and then he got her pregnant. And I'm like, I'm not saying that I'm not the type of person that's like, okay, just because you made one mistake or you had this weird age gap, like that means that y'all are doomed to fail as a couple forever. Um, but I do think that that needs to be acknowledged that she had just come out of another sexual assault situation at age 15 right into his arms. And then they had a sexually inappropriate relationship that resulted in her getting pregnant.
No, I think that that is absolutely completely fair and valid. Yeah, that age gap, and that's not great already. No, like I feel like that's one of the things, like, yeah, no, not great. But yeah, I think that I feel like she's just gone through so much, and I feel like she has a lot to unpack and maybe doesn't know how to unpack it or how to talk about it. I don't know how to say it, but like I don't think that she has a good outlet to be able to kind of get things right and sorted within herself to be able to thrive. Um, and I know that she had been having like health issues previously, and just feel like that she just has a lot on her plate.
The other thing they don't really talk about in this is she's pregnant during all of this,
Yeah,
and like I'm sure that makes her think back to being 16 and pregnant and like, all the things that are going on with your body that are happening. And like with her, it wasn't, like she didn't plan it,
it
when she
wasn't
did it the
sunshine.
first time.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
not
it's like,
sunshine and butterflies. Yeah,
right. And it's like, I can see how that would subconsciously make it really hard to like want to be intimate with somebody, especially somebody that you like have known since you were 16,
yeah. Well, and I was also thinking, like, from the intimacy and from the pregnant, thing. I'm not pregnant. I've never been pregnant. I can't speak to like feelings and stuff that you have, but like you have all those hormones running through your body. You have a lot of big feelings. A lot of times where, I've had friends and family that have been pregnant and like be like, I can't tell you why I feel this way, but I'm like angry, or I feel like, and it makes me wonder. Like, I think that she should get a lot of grace with, especially with the intimacy thing, with being pregnant, with doing that. Like, if she's not in the mood, like, she's got a lot of other things going on. She's growing a whole baby. Like, I mean, I don't think that it is completely fair to. I agree with you. Like, it's not a her thing. It.
hmm
I think that it's a them thing, and they should work on it together. But I also think that she should get quite a bit more grace on the intimacy part with, like you said, I didn't even think about it from the perspective of like maybe some of that like first pregnancy trauma. I don't know if it like trauma is a good word, but like the first pregnancy and kind of the feelings of that, like how it may impact her subsequent pregnancies, and like maybe the feelings that she has around it. Because if you have like maybe not all the happy feelings on that first one, maybe it's harder to have those happy feelings that you would have with a planned one. Like, yeah, I didn't even think about that. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah. At a minimum, I think you have to be really conscious about like, your body's back in that state. And it's like you got to be really conscious about like this time is different
Yeah,
and like teaching your body that. Um, because I could see it being like, you know what, like shut down because here
yeah,
we are again with this same guy, even if like they've come a long way, it's just like your body is like, your lizard brain, you got to like show it a different way. So,
no,
um, yeah, but I just hope she, doesn't put so much pressure on herself. And, I think she is seeking therapy and like she's been like trying, and I think that's great. I also think that with her trauma and like all the separate instances that she's had of like traumatic things happening to her, I feel like she needs to go at her own pace.
oh,
Um,
100%, yeah,
yeah, and it's just like it may not be like the pace that everybody, wants for her or like thinks she should do, but it's just like, especially being pregnant again and being postpartum now, I'm just like, you got to take that. Like it takes so much of your energy when you go to therapy.
yeah. No,
Um, so yeah.
I think that, um, and I don't remember if it was in this episode that they had the therapy session. What I don't.
Yeah, I think that's the next one. We can still
Okay,
talk about it.
okay. I was just gonna say, like, I think it was one of the like his cut over to his solo moment. Um, like he had made a comment about not like with the intimacy issues, like not sure if like the marriage would last, or like alluded
Yeah.
to divorce or something like that. And there was a piece of me that I was like, that gave me the ick. I'm like, your wife is pregnant with your baby. Like, I feel like, I mean, within reason, she should get a hall pass on pretty much anything and everything at this point. Like, I don't know, like maybe that's just me, but I'm like, the fact that this kind of came up and he kind of said that didn't sit well with me. I didn't like that. I understand that he has needs and that he is saying that he's really, is high, you know, his high intimacy and she's low, and like, yes, maybe that's not super compatible, but like, I think that with everything going on, with her being pregnant, with all this stuff, like, dude, like, you're okay. Like, chill for just like, like some of those things. Yeah, that part I didn't like.
That's a really good way of describing how I feel about him. Is like overall, I'm like, I get you. I'm like, I empathize with you. I like your chill vibe, but then just like every once in a while, he'll do or say something that gives me the ick.
Yeah,
Like I was icked out when he was like doing the shots at Stagecoach, not because it's like I'm a person that thinks people shouldn't have fun or something, but it was very clear that like that was super uncharacteristic of him.
yeah,
And like he was like, it felt like he was like reacting to something and like kind of like not bringing his partner along on this journey of like having fun because like obviously she can't drink,
yeah,
and it's like without discussing with her or whatever, he just like does something completely out of character and like takes a bunch of shots.
yeah,
I empathized with Michaela on that. I think maybe she didn't handle it great, by like kind of stonewalling him.
yeah,
But I've felt that before where you're like in a group setting and there's like a like dynamic between you and your like boyfriend or whatever, and they like kind of like exclude you in a way,
yeah.
and so I empathized with her on that. And then I also got the ick when they were like in the sauna and she was like struggling to like make the sauna thing work.
Hmm.
I wrote down, can you do a sauna while you're pregnant? And I don't think I
No,
actually.
no.
Okay.
I was just thinking that. I was like, I have a friend that like is in love with baths, and it was one of the things that she was really sad about whenever she was pregnant is that she couldn't like take hot baths. So I remember getting her like a little like one of those like animal floaty things that tells you like the temperature of the bath water. I was like, you
Oh,
can still
that's
take
sweet.
baths. Like you can still take baths. Like just make sure it's under this temperature or whatever it is. And yeah, I don't think that you're supposed to do that, allowed to do that. I mean, to each their own. I know that there's a lot of things that you're not supposed to do in pregnancy that people do and the babies are fine, but yeah, I was a little confused about that too. I was like, what are you doing in a hot tub? Like, I know, but hey.
Yeah, the sauna, like I meant to Google the sauna thing because I don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally don't think I would. The hot
Mm-mm.
tub thing, I did notice that she only put her legs in.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, sorry.
but then I was like, I don't know, that was never going to be very romantic anyway if he's in up to his neck and your knees are in.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, I just felt icked out by like her struggling to get the whole sauna thing working and running around, and he was just like sitting there, like angry. And I was kind of
Yeah.
like, in my head, I was like, the cameras are there. He's like has been famously known to be hate being on camera, so maybe that's why he was acting like that. But it's just like over and over again. It's like I'm like I like him. He's being really nice. He's saying all the right things. He's a chill vibe. And then it's just like every once in a while, I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I was also just thinking like whenever some you compare some of the other guys, and if we're just talking about what we're seeing in season 3 and the behaviors of the husbands in season 3, like it's not a very high bar to compete with, if you get my drift. Like
That is so true.
So like I feel like that also, like whenever you're seeing crappy husbands and people doing crappy things, and then you're like, oh, he's listening, like, oh, he wants to go to therapy, like he wants to work on things, he wants to support her, he's saying all the right things. I think that it, in my brain, I think it kind of let me give a little bit more forgiveness on some of the icky things, like you were saying. Like I don't.
Yeah, it's like surely not all of them are terrible. Like there's some like thing in my mind that's like they can't all be terrible. So
Yeah,
surely Michaela's husband, you
yeah.
know.
Maybe he's the okay one, and all the other ones are, yeah, no, like, oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anything else you want to talk about? Oh wait, before we talk about like stagecoach in general and get move past that, I do want to talk about Whitney coming over and doing her like TikTok at the house with the little pigtails. What were your thoughts about that whole conversation she had with Taylor and everything?
I don't know. That's a hard one. Like they're you're putting girls that are not in good relationships and all that all in a house together, and it's just, I don't think that anybody was ready for it. But what are your thoughts on that conversation?
First of all, the pigtails were crazy. I honestly live for it. I think this is something that Whitney does really well as a villain. She will wear some outfit or do her hair in some way that is super ugly. And then she just walks in like she's the hottest thing in the world. And it's like it's pretty iconic. Like I'll never forget those pigtails, you know?
Yeah, it is a little bit of like a double take.
Yeah,
It was a choice. It was
it
a
was a
choice.
choice. And it's just like it's not flattering, but the way she like has zero shame about it and comes in like is like, all right, like maybe they do eat. Like, okay. Um so I respect that about her a lot. Um I felt like the conversation was with Taylor, it was like, are you serious? This is when I get really frustrated watching Whitney because she just got super defensive. She they Taylor was trying to point out like, hey, the reason everybody's mad at you right now and like you feel this like horrible vibe in the house that you've definitely noticed,
Hmm.
just wanted to let you know it's because like you reposted something that Demi posted that implicated girls in the house that didn't do anything. So
Yeah.
like and then her response to that was, well, saying nothing is saying something. And I was like, Whitney, like, I know you don't even believe that. It's just like so defensive. Um, and then like she kept changing the subject on Taylor, like, like, well, you're the one that she like brought up the swinging scandal TikTok that
Hmm.
Taylor made like 100 years ago. And my critique for Taylor in that moment, because I think she can take it, because I do think she actually has incredible leadership skills. And my leadership critique for her in that moment was stop letting her change the subject. Like, Whitney is just all defensiveness in the scene, all deflection, refusing to acknowledge that other people's feelings exist or that they might have a reason for having those feelings. And it's like you getting defensive yourself is just playing right into it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that was frustrating to me.
I feel like maybe she has like a little bit of blinders on about Demi. And I feel like it's one of those things that like you like repost and like without like just being like, oh, I want to support my friend and like do this, like, and like maybe didn't completely understand what she was reposting. Like,
Because yeah, I totally agree. I think she just reposted Demi's thing to be supportive and like didn't necessarily consider all the implications. But it's
yeah.
like Taylor was doing her a favor by coming to her and explaining like this is why people were upset by that. And instead
Hmm.
of being receptive and being like, "Oh, okay, thanks for telling me." She
Yeah.
just doubled down, like you said, and that's when I just get really frustrated with her because I'm like, no, I don't. I just, it's not fun to watch. Like it's just like boring, childish bullshit when somebody is that insensitive.
Yeah.
So Yeah, she definitely in the episodes following this one has a big change of heart that I find interesting to
Hmm.
watch. So it's like maybe I don't necessarily buy it all, but it is interesting to watch. It's just for me this kind of stuff. It's the same thing when she was at Miranda's birthday party and she got in that argument with Jen. It was
Hmm.
just like, ugh, you're just like my mind's just like bent into a pretzel with her like deflection and her defensiveness, and I'm just like bored.
Yeah, like I do think that you're right and that she does have a little bit of a change of heart later, but like at this point and like her reaction with Taylor, yeah, like I think it's the emotional intelligence maybe is not quite there on that conversation.
Honey, go back and forth between thinking as far as like the friendship aspect of mom talk and the like interpersonal struggle she has with those women. I go back and forth between being like, she's a psychopath. Like she does not care about these people at all.
Hmm.
And thinking maybe she just doesn't think she's good at it. Like she doesn't think she's good at being a friend. And so she tries her coping mechanism for it is to just like opt out and be like, as soon as she gets any like vibes of like conflict or anything or like disapproval, she's like, all these girls hate me and I don't want to be around them, you know? So I don't
I
know.
th- I think that something that I come back to, and that whenever I've had watch parties with other friends, girls' nights, that we were watching this for the last seasons, is that not everybody needs to be friends. Like
Yeah,
I think that they're trying so hard, and especially in like the later episodes, not necessarily this one, but like they're trying so hard to keep it as a unit with all the same people. And you know what? Like, nah, like they don't all need to be friends. You can have, like, there can be someone in the group that maybe they phase out because it's just not working anymore or something like that. Like, sometimes, like, if you're trying so hard to get people that it's obviously dysfunctional, like, it's not going to work. Like, that's a hard thing to do. I don't think that, yeah, maybe part of her is like, it is so draining being with all that. Cause honestly, like, I watch the show and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're all too much. Like, I'm a low drama type of person. Like, I don't want to
hmm,
have friends that are crazy on the drama. Now, she doesn't think that she wants to spend the emotional energy to try to do all of it. Like, I think that there's maybe some of that with some of them. And I think that maybe, I think they all kind of go through that thought process and say something along those lines at least once in the last three seasons. Like, pretty much all
sure.
of the girls have said that. So, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I don't falter for that like I'm sure it's not easy, navigating all those relationships. I think the way you were talking about like wanting to be like low drama, it makes me think about Macy. Like, do you feel like you relate to her where she just kind of like, you know, most of the time stays out of the drama and kind of sits on the fence?
Yeah, I think that if I'm like remembering, like she didn't really have a whole lot of stuff going on. She wasn't really involved in a whole lot of it. I think that she got a couple of, was it her that was in like the chair while they were like talking? I can't remember if it was her. Whenever they were doing the makeup.
Yes.
I was
Oh, that was
like,
crazy.
I'm like, that girl, she's got some cojones because like that, I would feel so uncomfortable and be like, what do I do? Like, this is awkward. So, like, yeah, I think that some of the things, I think that she got some good FaceTime on funny like things like that. But yeah, I think that she is pretty low drama right now, not doing a whole lot, like not really getting involved in a whole lot of it and not getting her hands dirty. But then also I think at the same time, like some of the things that have been transpiring with the allegations and all of that, like I think that there's some of it that maybe she just doesn't want to get involved because there's some kind of wild things that are being slewn around and said and that she's getting lumped into that she doesn't deserve to be lumped into and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, I listened to her audiobook that came out like um in October, and she is also a sexual assault and domestic violence survivor.
yeah.
And she and Michaela were the ones that like didn't step in or say anything about like
Yeah.
Demi. And I just felt so bad for her when she was sitting in that chair and they're like talking about her and her, like something really sensitive about her, like her sexual assault, and right in front of her. Like that was crazy to put her in that situation. But yeah, she to me is someone I respect. Like she kind of just like is a anchor for a lot of the other girls. And like for the most part, she does get dramatic when towards men. I feel like she hates Chase, and she did
Yeah.
kind of like get involved in all that drama at Layla's birthday party. And then, with Jordan, she was like very like, hound dog on him at that barbecue. But
Yeah.
like as far as the other women, she just kind of stays steady, and I respect that about her a lot.
No, I think that you're right on that. I think that she even says like I can deal with a lot of drama, but except like men, toxic
Yeah,
men. Like I think that that was her. Yeah, and I'm just like, yeah, I can see it.
fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that this episode ends with Jordan telling Jesse about Dakota hooking up with Taylor's mom's friend.
Yeah.
Crazy. Um,
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about episode 7 or about Stagecoach or anything?
That house.
Freaking crazy, wasn't it?
And that's the first note that I have is that house. Wow, like wild. And I thought it was funny that they met Lana Del Rey, and she's like, "So do we like Whitney?" And I thought that
Yes.
was highly comical. So those are the only comments that I had that I was like, yeah, I thought that was funny. But yeah, no, that house is pretty incredible.
Yeah, that place was awesome. And yeah, I loved Lana Del Rey. She did look so beautiful, and she was like so like into the
Yeah,
tea. I loved it.
she really felt like a girl's girl in the moment. She's like, "Give me the goss, like give me, tell me what's going on. I need to know." I just thought that was so funny.
That's awesome. Okay, so you ready to move on to episode 8?
Let's hit it.
Okay, so the first thing I have written down is my heart is breaking for Taylor. She is on cloud 9 with Dakota and has no clue it's about to come crashing down. A little bit later in this episode, they show Taylor and Dakota taking pictures with their son,
Hmm.
and she still has no idea. And it's like I totally see, like, even though it's delusional and wrong, and she should know better, it's like when there's a chance that like you can be a family with this man, and like
Yeah.
you and your son and him can like be a family unit, it's like so tempting.
No,
um yeah.
and I agree with her, and I don't blame her because I think that she's mentioned several times, like, I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be a single mom. Like, so I get it, but this guy is just bad news. Like, I feel for her because obviously, like, you want to give your children, the world, and you want what's best for them. And, like, in a perfect world type of thing, like, two parents, would be good and, like, all of that. But I feel like that would not be a perfect world for them just because of the relationship thing. Like, I feel like there are times where kids are better off with their parents, maybe not together. And like, I know that that kind of sucks and that's not, what people want. And I don't think that that's like the most famous, popular opinion, but I do think that they are definitely better off separate. And I feel for her because, like, I know that in her head she's thinking like, okay, I could have this happy family, my son could have, his dad always there, I could have like a partner. But I think sometimes she gets a little bit caught up in that and not really thinking about who that partner is. Like, she's caught up in the idea and not the reality.
100%. Yeah, they really turned the knife with that scene for me, because it's like it's a fantasy. It's just pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a moment in time. But yeah, like I think I can't help but think about when she in season 2 is at her parents' house, and like everybody's screaming across the table at each other and making the kids cry.
Yeah.
And I think it's her sister that steps up and is like, I'm going to take the child out of the situation because this is harmful.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, y'all don't need to be together. Like, it's not good for the kids. Um, yeah.
Like, I get it. It's sad. And I think that I'm in like a mean way, not intending to be mean, but like, I hope that this is it. I'm like, I feel like this is like a record of she's saying, like, I'll never trust him again. I'll never trust him again. And I'm hoping that this is the last straw and that she's actually not. I hope that she's cutting ties with them. I hope that, they can find a good balance on how to co-parent, the kiddo and make their life and build their life and support him in a way that is separate, but, you know, not hostile.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there is potential, and I'm probably going to kick myself saying this, but I feel like there could be potential for them to be decent co-parents if we just completely get rid of the romantic aspect of it. Like, I think that you can tell that he loves his kid. She loves her. Like, I feel like he does want what's best for him. And I do think that, like, if they can focus their energy in trying to provide a stable home and stable, like, family unit in that way of being co-parents, I think that that is probably what would be best for their, their personal relationship and the relationship of helping and raising the baby.
Yeah. And I almost feel like he did her a favor in a way by having that whatever went on between him and that person who was like family,
Mhm.
because it's like if she really can be like, okay, that's too far. Like you've messed with my family, like you've done something that's like basically incestuous emotionally to me.
Yeah,
You have zero boundaries. Like there's like no woman that you won't say yes to, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Um, I feel like that it's like he subconsciously like acted that way and did that like in my mind to sabotage any future relationship that they could have ever had. And I hope that she like sees it that way because if she goes back to him after this, he's just going to do something even more egregious, you
yeah.
know?
No, I agree. I think, like, it's sad and it's, mean to say, but I'm hoping that this hurt is the hurt that finishes it.
Yeah, me
Like,
too.
I'm hoping that this is too much. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. There's no going back to this. There's no fixing it. Let's move forward with the relationship that we can build that is not together in a way like that. Like, I'm really hoping that maybe this is the best person that he could have fooled around with, and for her to finally see that.
Right.
And, like, I agree. I think that the favor is done with picking the worst person possible. Yes, it hurts the worst, but, like, maybe this will drive it home.
Yeah, hopefully so. Um, so the next scene is Whitney and Connor, and they are talking about the Demi situation, I think, at
Yeah,
this point.
yeah,
I really loved the way that Connor handled it. And he talks about it later too in this episode. There's that scene where they're in the hotel room
yeah,
and he like we can just go ahead and talk about that and be a little bit out of order because that scene really like tugged at my heartstrings. What did you think about it?
yeah. And this is the one where I think he was, like, sitting on the bed and they were talking about, like, eh, the one that where he's, like, almost crying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I feel like the whole Demi thing is a really hard topic to comment on opinions. And I just want to preface everything with that.
Hmm.
Um, I do think that the way that he was talking and the things that he said, I feel like maybe that helped expose, like, Whitney to maybe there is another side. And I agree. It definitely tugged at the heartstrings with him being sad because, like, you could see that, like, some of the things that were transpiring, like he was putting himself in that position, and like what if that was like him, what if that were his kids, like, and how he would feel. Like I feel like he maybe wants to say something that he's not explicitly saying, because like Whitney needs to be the one to make up her mind on that friendship and maybe some of the words and some of the conversations that have been had. But yeah, I think that he went about that quite articulate. I think he articulated it well. I think that that's probably the best I can say.
Yeah, that's my take too. I think he's a really good partner to Whitney, um, because he didn't try to like change her opinion or
Yeah.
anything. He listened, and then but he really stood firm in his opinion, you know. Um, I know that at the end of season 2 at the reunion, he opened up about being a survivor of child sexual assault as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's why it just like broke my heart when they were talking about Demi sending videos of her daughter to
Yeah.
Marciano after the alleged assault happened, and he just like broke down. I was like,
Yeah.
oof.
Yeah.
It's really powerful because it's like he's speaking with empathy, you know, like he's speaking with empathy as somebody who has been sexually assaulted, and like, you know, he's not like dismissing Demi out of hand, you know,
Yeah.
he's like really taking it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that, so there's just something really messed up about that, and he like put his finger on it, that like you wouldn't send a video of your daughter praying to someone that you thought was like dangerous if there wasn't something really, really messed up going on, you know?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I think the way he phrased it was he said, like, I have doubts. I
Yeah.
have my doubts. And it was like, I'm not saying you have to change your opinion, but like, I have my doubts. Um, and yeah, I actually was really proud of Whitney too, because I think you're right. I think she came into that conversation with Connor very open. I think she's a very self-interested person, and she picked a really good husband, I think. And she knows that, and so she comes into those conversations with him like very open and like seeking his real opinion. And I think that's really interesting to watch. Um, and he at one point it says, "You still don't feel like she's being 100% honest with you, do you?" And she says, "I don't think she's being honest with herself."
Yeah.
And I was like really proud of Whitney, because that is a really good insight. I think she's exactly right. And it shows like an objectivity that Whitney is able to bring, because like I said, she's very self-interested, she's very strategic, and she is more like distanced from the social aspect of mom talk and everything. She's not so invested in like the friendships and like the loyalties and everything.
Right.
And so she can be objective, and that gives her some real value to the show and like some real insight. So I thought that was really good.
Yeah. Side comment, which I kind of unrelated, but I think it was at the beginning of this episode whenever they were walking to the room and he's like, "How did it go?" Or like, he seemed like a. Um, I thought that was funny. Like it was like a playful, like, okay, tell me everything that happened. Tell me what, like, tell me all the gossip. Tell me the deets. Like, I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, that's a good relationship to have. Be like, okay, you got the tea, now spill. Like, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here for the drama. I'm here for the updates. And I was like, hey, that's a fun one. Whereas like Luke is very low drama. I ask him questions. He's like, I didn't ask. I was like, okay. Like, I was like, you're supposed to get the details. He's like, it doesn't involve me. I don't ask. I was like, okay. So he seems like one of those people like that. He'll like, he's supporting there and all that. So I just thought that was like a fun, playful banter type of thing. Not maybe necessarily like a playful situation, but like I just like the way that he supported her and like was on her level and all that. I kind of like that. Like thought it was
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, it was cute.
Yeah.
They weren't all like serious business. They had like
Yeah.
have like a cute dynamic as well.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Okay, the next thing is Michaela and Jace at
Mhm.
therapy. We kind of talked about this a little bit already, but like I one question I have is this the same lady who did Michaela's EMDR therapy in like season or like episode 5 or something?
I think it was a different one. I
You
think
think it's
this
a
one's a
different
different
lady?
one.
Okay. I
This
go ahead.
this isn't the one. I feel like this is a different one because they don't go to the intimacy therapist. I think that that one's recommended, right? This is just a couples therapist. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that it's a different one
Okay.
from the I one.
Okay, that's good because I think that would be unethical if she was going to couples therapy with her individual therapist.
Yeah.
I said in the EMDR therapy scene that I think it's weird to film going to therapy, and I kind of feel still feel that way. Um, but also like if it like my like best case scenario for it is I think Michaela might be looking at it as like this could help people if they see like what therapy is really like, and like maybe we'll have some time like where we talk on camera and it kind of like normalizes it for the audience, and like I'm doing a good thing for the world by like normalizing therapy, and then we turn the cameras off and we can like have a real session. So that's like the best case scenario, but I just think about it from like a professional standpoint as a therapist. I'm like, I think I'd have a hard time thinking that filming therapy is in like not just for my own purposes, but for literally national television. Like how I don't know if that's in my client's best interest, you know?
I completely agree with that. I feel like that like therapy is kind of sacred. Like
Hmm.
that's time for you to have conversations and have real conversations, and maybe this is just me projecting, but like how can you have those conversations whenever you know that there's a million people watching you? Like how can you really dive deep? And I don't know how the production team does it, if they film the whole session and then they just like pick some parts, or like if they say, okay, yeah, you can video this part and not this part. But from my head, like I would think that the easiest way for them to do it would be to video all of it and then just cut pieces. And as a patient that's trying to have this therapy session with a camera in my face and all this, even if I know that, okay, yeah, this part, like these parts, I have, say so over what goes on the show and what doesn't, like, I feel like that would still be very difficult to be open and honest. So I don't love the idea that they have their therapy on camera
Yeah.
for any of the couples. Like I don't love that. I feel like that, as if anything, is maybe potentially like damaging the progress that they could make if it versus if it was private. I do think that it is a fair and valid point, and maybe like a good spin on it how you're thinking about it, of like maybe we're showing us in therapy and showing that we're working on things and like encouraging other people to do the same. Like I like that, and I hope that maybe that's the way they look at it. But just from a selfish and personal growth and like diving deep perspective, I don't love the idea of them videoing that, because I don't feel like you can make as much progress as you could without it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the therapist's responsibility to do what's best for their client and like recommend to them. It just looks like a conflict of interest to me when it's like
Yeah,
a therapist is like, "Oh yeah, sure, like film me," you
yeah,
know. Um, but whatevs,
yeah.
I think that, like what did you think of the session? Like, did you feel like anything, interesting came out of it?
I don't feel like they really got into anything that they hadn't gotten into previously, either personally, like in like whenever they did their, you know, I don't know what you call them, the headshot, solo shots, like wherever they're sitting in the room with the people asking them questions. Like I feel like a lot of things that were said there and things that were said like in filming them together and stuff like that. Like I feel like a lot of the stuff that had been said there was also said in therapy. I don't feel like there was really anything new. And now I did watch all the episodes together, so maybe some parts are like leaking out of my head, and I don't remember if there was anything really big. But there was nothing that like really stood out to me about that. Um,
Yeah, I didn't
about that
write
session.
anything
Yeah,
out or write anything down, so yeah, it's like it's not even necessary, you know? Um,
yeah.
so whatevs.
I
Um,
feel I do remember he made a comment at the end, and he's like, to the therapist, he's like, I'm worried that if we don't do this or something like that, that like she's gonna lose motivation and like nothing's gonna happen, type of thing. I do remember he made that comment, and I was like, I don't know how much of that is from a place of concern versus from a place of I need her to be motivated so I can get what I want, type of thing. Like, I think that comment made me question it a little bit. Like, I didn't like that, but um, I want to think that he's saying that to like help encourage, be like, hey, I know that you may lose interest. I'm gonna like hold you accountable, type of thing. Like, I don't know if it was from an accountable type of perspective. Like, I don't know if that makes sense.
no, it does. And I don't know either. I like now that you bring that up, I remember that. And like I was more like either way, I don't know what his intentions were, but either way, what that statement is lacking for me is an acknowledgement that therapy is really hard and is really hard for Michaela specifically. And like it drains you. And she's also like going to LA and doing like these crazy press events and like being
Yeah,
on camera and like she has like her pregnancy and like she's dealing with stuff with her appearance and her skin while she's like on this literal like national international stage and trying to raise your other freaking children,
yeah,
and it's like when is she supposed to have the energy to go to therapy? um
yeah,
and like not just she's already doing EMDR therapy. Now y'all are doing couples therapy. Now there's an additional therapist y'all need to go to. Like this is
eh,
why Jen took a break from mom talk,
yeah.
like it's really draining. And I don't know. I feel like that's what that piece is missing from his like it's like I understand like you don't want her to lose motivation, but maybe like think about how to solve that problem instead of just like blame it all on her, you know?
Yeah. I think I was actually just gonna loop in the thing about Jen like leaving for a while to like get her, head straight and all that. Like, I give her props for that because this is a very charged, emotionally charged group of girls and drama and all of that. And so, like you're saying, she's got potentially three different types of therapy. Like, therapy kind of sucks the life out of you. Like, I mean, like, it's for a good cause and like it helps you, but like it's a lot. And having to do all of that on top of your, duties as a wife and as a mom and as a, on the show and, media tours and like all of that stuff. Like, I don't blame her for being exhausted. I think that the other comment that I had is I think that this was the same session where they asked about like where would you rate yourself on like the intimacy sexuality scale, and he's like, oh, I'm like a 9 or a 10, and she's like, I'm like a 2. And then like his comment at the end about like she's gonna lose motivation, type of thing, like there's a little bit of part of me that was like thinking boy monkey brain, like
Yeah.
yeah. I think maybe some of the ways that he could have phrased that type of thing is maybe like the we statements of like we need to hold ourselves accountable for working on this, and like why don't we work to schedule like additional appointments for the future. I don't know, like everybody does things differently, but yeah, that I didn't feel I felt like that was could be seen as holding her accountable in a positive light, but I felt kind of a little bit of like a negative vibe to it.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Um, okay, so then the rest of this episode, I guess what we can do is we can end with the conversation between Demi and Whitney because that's probably the most dramatic. The rest of this episode is kind of all about like gay stuff. So, like, there's Macy and Jacob at the grocery store talking about the Pride event and about his gay cousin. All that I found like weird. Just like like they're trying to be really nice, like to this cousin, and be supportive of him. But it just came across very much like straight people, like trying really hard, you know?
I agree. It came across as like you're trying so hard to be an ally, and you're just like, yes, the cousin. I thought that was a little odd, but like at the same time, I'm happy. Like
Oh
that's
yeah.
good.
Oh,
Like
it's oh
put it
totally
out
good.
there. I'm all for them making a stance and being like, yeah, we don't support, like we are avid members of the church, but we don't support this. Like I do appreciate that, and I appreciate that from a like Utah religion Mormon perspective of like you can have this, but like we don't agree with that all the craziness that
Hmm.
maybe the church says. And yeah, so I did like that they kind of peppered that in, but I would agree with you with the cousin thing, because that felt like it was pushing it, like where you could have just like I don't know, I felt like that entire grocery trip conversation was like maybe a little manufactured, whenever you could have just been like, hey, we're mom talk, we're supporting, we're going to the pride event to be allies and support everybody, like, and not put the anecdote of the cousin. I thought that was very strange, but I also had a side comment that both
Hmm.
Luke and I made. What is up with the flag that they put in their yard? Did you see that?
The with the little tiny one.
The teeniest, tiniest flag. Like they're like,
Yeah.
we're allies, we're gonna support it, and then they get this teensy little tiny flag and they just stick it in the ground. I was like, oh my gosh.
It's like they
Because
bought
like
it from Amazon and they didn't know how big it was, and then they were like, "Oh crap!" Like,
I thought that was really. It's like, yeah, I thought that was really funny. It like reminds me of like the American flags and stuff that they do like around Fourth of July and Memorial Day, like where they stick them in the yards and like
right? Yeah.
that. I was like, oh man, like a for effort on trying, but maybe you didn't like deliver all the way. But I thought that we just looked at each other and we're like, what the heck? Like, what is this little pitiful tiny flag that you just pushed in the dirt that you know is going to blow over in a second? Like, I just thought that was comical. So
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah, Macy and Jacob, I think their intentions are very pure and I love it. And like, yes,
yeah,
thank you for being allies. Also,
yes,
it's giving grandma and grandpa at like, it's giving like, oh, awkward straight people, like, you know.
yeah.
I love it though. It's cute.
It's like, yeah, I think that grandma and grandpa is a very good way to put it. Like whenever you're having a conversation with somebody and you're like trying to relate to them and you're like, oh, I have a friend whose daughter's cousin, like that awkward like tension type, like the trying so hard to relate and maybe it just not landing all the way. I just think
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. So good.
yeah.
And then, okay, there's the scene with Jen and Ezra, who's like teaching her about dance in preparation for
Oh,
Dancing with the Stars, I think.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so they have a really sweet convo about God and love versus religion and earning acceptance.
Hmm.
Um, and Ezra makes it clear that he left the church because of their stance on gay people and gay marriage and everything. And
Hmm.
then later, after his mom like really battled with it, she and their whole family left the church too. And then Jen is basically saying like, she's still part of the church, but she believes that like God, it doesn't mind like whatever kind of love there is, it's love.
Yeah.
So what was your thoughts on that?
No, I liked the way that, because there's, I think, of the women, there's a spectrum of Mormonism
Hmm.
of like which ones are hardcore, which ones are not, like that type of thing. Like which not maybe not which are not, but which ones are a little bit more loosey goosey on it.
Sure.
And I liked. I feel like Jen is one of the more traditional ones, like more like what you would expect for somebody in the Mormon religion to be. And her saying that I think was really a nice like. I feel like it was a very good like insight in like, okay, even people that really do value the traditional beliefs like also have a like change of heart or different sub opinions whenever it comes to like these things, because that's something that I am very um like a big proponent of and supportive about. It was something that whenever I went to church, whenever I was little, like I would get into fights with people about. Like it was a whole thing. Like my church, like grown up leaders hated me whenever we had to do those type of lessons about the gays. Like I'm just like,
Hmm.
no, like, but so her doing that and saying that, like I really liked that. Um and Yeah, I think that it was really sweet. And I'm also happy for Ezra in that like he was able to go away and then his family also was able to step away as well, because I don't think that a lot of people are met with that type of like support whenever it comes to like big things like that. So, but yeah, no, I liked the way that she put it. And I think that she said something about like, I think she said like use the word like partnership, I think, or something like that in relation to whether man and woman or
Oh
woman and
yeah,
man, whatever.
yeah.
But
I can
and
remember this. Yeah.
I really liked that she used that, because whenever you think of it like that, like let's just take out the genders of this, like let's take out that, like at the end of the day they're a partnership, they're, why does it matter? And I really liked her perspective on that one.
I did too. I thought it was really interesting to pair the two of them together because it's like one of them like left the church and their whole family left the church.
Hmm.
And then Jen has like really leaned into the church.
Yeah.
And like in season one, um, I think she's come a long way since then, but in
Hmm.
season one, they had like they literally called each other saints and sinners within the group.
Yes. Yeah.
And she was one of the saints, and she like disinvited people to her baby blessing,
Yeah.
like because, you
They,
know,
yeah, they weren't
and
enough,
they
weren't
weren't
enough. Yeah.
enough. And like I think the real reason she did that, side note, is because Jordan brought alcohol to her in-laws' house, and her in-laws are super Mormon.
Mormon.
And
Yeah.
I think that was enough. Like if she had just said like that's why, and like everybody who drank it and like is okay with somebody doing that and disrespecting my in-laws' boundaries, that's why you're not coming. That I would have respected, but she like really leaned into this saints and sinners thing a little bit
Yeah.
more, and it was
No.
kind of gross.
Yep. I'm with
Um,
you on that one.
and um, I just like, you know that I'm bisexual and I was raised super Baptist. I have a hard time like reconciling like things that are literally written in the Bible about gay people. And it's like I think it's really cool that like there's people like you and Jen who like are, Christian members of the church, like have these like traditional values, because there is a lot that I like respect about that.
Mhm.
And it's like, how do you like have this belief that though that's like that you seem both seem of you seem to hold so strongly that like it doesn't matter what gender you are, like love is love.
Mhm.
How do you hold that in like conjunction with the things that it does actually say in the Bible, you know?
Or yeah, no. I mean, I think if we got onto the topic of religion and what makes sense and what doesn't, that'd be a whole other podcast and a whole other mess. But yeah, like I do think that I liked how she said it. I respected how she said it, and I'm glad that it was on national TV for people to also see that and be like, hey,
Yeah, I'm glad that that exists.
yeah,
It's just I think about it because I'm like going through a journey, kind of like returning to, because I was like a super spiritual kid. Like I was super like wanted to please God. Wanted I was like really into church and the Bible and everything, and
hmm,
like loved learning about all that kind of stuff. And then it was like realizing like that my like sexuality was like incompatible with the people I grew up with, at least their version of
yeah,
religion. It was like I kind of cut myself off from that version of myself. And then it's like over time I started to like reconnect with that version of myself, and I'm like experiencing an integration. But that's the one thing I can't get past is like I love this quote from Saint Augustine where he says like there are two texts that God has left us with: creation and like scripture. And
Hmm.
if we think that they are in conflict, that's because we're misunderstanding one of them. And I'm like, the one I'm misunderstanding is scripture. Like that one, I don't get. I get how I see how God works through creation, but I just don't see how to like reconcile scripture with it yet, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
Um, okay. And then they talk about, they have the whole pride event. I have a thing where I kind of ship Taylor and Miranda. I call it Tayranda.
Okay.
I think that they are really good friends, and sometimes it's giving more than friends. And then I also know, obviously, they were swingers together, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. And there was like a moment where they're like taking a photo at the on the red carpet at the Pride event, and I was like, Tayranda at the Pride event, like,
Hey, they admitted to kissing before, right?
yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
and
Hey,
like
I
having
don't.
sex around each other. So
Hey,
um,
to each their own. I mean, I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibilities.
yeah, even if it's just somebody needs to like write a fan fiction about it, like I'm fine with that. I'm pro Randa, so that was exciting to see them at the Pride event, and we got to meet Macy and Jacob's cute cousin. He was really sweet.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, anything else you want to say before we talk about Demi and Whitney?
Um, I don't think so. I think that we got it covered on supporting the gays.
Yeah. Okay. So, Demi and Whitney. This is kind of the centerpiece of this episode. They go to have dinner for Whitney to kind of confront Demi with the receipts that came out at the Secret Lives of Mormon Rise second season reunion.
Mhm.
It starts out with Demi talking about Whitney's boobs and like how she's going to stare at them the whole dinner. I thought that was interesting. Did you notice that?
I didn't. I didn't.
I thought it was interesting because she did say, like, one of her defenses is like, when they bring up all the text messages that she had with Marciano that are super like dirty and suggestive, she's like, I
Yeah.
talk with all of my friends that way. And I was like, you just really got personal with Whitney. And like, she's like, your boobs look amazing. I'm just going to stare at them all night. And I was like, okay, I guess that kind of is more evidence of that. Sure. But then nothing else she did was remotely credible to me for that whole conversation.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Yeah. I think that that's when we're getting a little bit into the hard waters. But yeah, I guess what are your thoughts on kind of what they said and how she said it and how she went about it and what her responses were? Because I kind of am with you on the I don't know how credible all this is, and yeah,
I think a big point that I have, just like my general thoughts, not necessarily this conversation, but my general thoughts about the whole Demi Marciano situation are, um, it's not credible because she is the one that has perpetuated this whole narrative about Jesse and Marciano having sex.
yeah,
And like literally was like taunting Jesse by being like about it.
yeah,
Um, and when Jesse confronts her about it and is like, why are you going around telling everybody that I had sex with Marciano? Like, you don't know, you weren't there.
yeah,
Her response is, because Marciano told me. And to me, that's the heart of the whole thing because she can't on in one breath be like, I trust Marciano and his like telling me what happened between him and Jesse 100%, and I'm going to go around spreading it to everybody and taunting Jesse about it, and at the same time go around telling everybody that Marciano is a sexual predator and he's lying about what happened between me and him.
You can't try to really blow up somebody's life on this claim and then do the complete, pretty much say the complete opposite whenever it
Right.
comes to you. Yeah.
It's like she trusts no one's word but Marciano when it comes to what happened between him and Jesse. But when it's between him and Demi, she's like, he's a liar and a sexual predator and he can't be trusted. To me, that's like, it doesn't add up.
No. Yeah.
And then with this conversation specifically, um, she does say something very insightful at one point where she says, everything that happened between me and Marciano, Brett knows about it, and that's all that should matter. I actually agree. I'm like, if
Yeah.
your husband is okay with and knows about everything that happened between you two and knows about all your text messages and you sending the videos of your daughter and all that stuff, and he's okay with it, it's nobody else's business. The reason it's becoming everyone else's business is because you're putting it in issue by not shutting up about Marciano and Jesse.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only reason people care about this is because you're spreading this other separate story, you know?
You're yeah, you're fanning the fire for something else that's yeah. No, and I agree. I did agree with her on that. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, her husband knows about it and is okay with all of those things. That's one thing. That's a different thing. But I do agree with her. I think that that is something that has to do with their relationship and these conversations. Like, and if her husband is cool with it, then I mean, who are we to judge? Kind of. I mean, I say that loosely, but I agree with you, and like that's absolutely true. It's that is really a conversation that they need to have within their relationship, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or what anybody else says, and if he's cool with whatever's happening and whoever she's talking to and whatever videos he's sending of people, like then I guess you can have your opinions, but at the end of the day, like they don't matter because they're solid or however you want to look at it. But I agree with the statement of like he knows and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I wish that she had just said that from the beginning, and kept quiet about everything else because she, if she really stuck to that, then she would have no need to bring up Jesse and Marciano. She would have no need to say that Marciano is a sexual predator and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If at the end of the day, it's all about like her and Brett. I actually saw something really interesting. This is speculation, but I think it's very good speculation in a TikTok video that this person theorized that maybe Brett and Demi were looking into bringing Marciano in as like a sperm donor because we know that Demi, heartbreaking, has been struggling with fertility for a really long time and really badly wants to have a baby. And maybe that was kind of how things originated. And it would kind of make sense that, Brett, they like invited Marciano to their house, and Brett was like talking about sending him DoorDash and like all this kind of stuff and like having, the relationship that they had, maybe that was what was on the table.
I can see
Um,
that.
and if that's the case, then I'm like, I don't think anybody's going to be mad at you about that. Why would you like hide it at this point, you know? And I don't know. I just feel like it's it's a shame, and it's like I'm a person that like, I remember the Me Too movement, and it's like I think that that was a huge like step in the right direction because it was really bad before that like people were really bad about like not believing people who've been sexually assaulted and like automatically defaulting to defending other people that were accused and everything. But I do think at a certain point, it's like there are people who, like I think Demi is one of them. She can't even be honest with herself, and so it's not fair to blow up this man's life based on her like story that keeps changing, the timeline keeps changing. It doesn't make sense. And she's also like at the same time, like in one breath saying that he's a sexual predator and a liar, and then the next breath saying he's her friend and he, she trusts his word absolutely about what happened between him and another friend sexually. It doesn't add up, you know?
You did a good job saying, like, in the same breath of her saying, yeah, this happened with Jesse, but this, true thing happened to Jesse, but this false thing happened to me. Like, it doesn't quite align, and it does make, and I think that she did say in a later episode that, like, she did it because she was angry. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's a really screwed up thing to do. Like, I mean, I don't want to say I do or don't believe her. I have doubts, but I think that at the end of the day, maybe she'll be the one that knows, or maybe she's, like you're saying, like, maybe she just can't come to say it to herself, or maybe she's ashamed and, like, wants to look at it in a different direction, or I don't know. So I think, but I also think that her other behaviors with other things that she's brought up, like, I know that this is in one of the later episodes, but like the whole, like, shoving things, like, I feel like she does blow things, like, she's had a tendency in the past to blow things out of proportion. So um I think it's kind of like just a bunch of little ticks that are not necessarily going in her favor. And do I think that that is fair whenever it comes to coming forward about a potential sexual assault? Like, maybe not, but yeah, I think that it does make it hard for you to be on her side and believe her and trust her and all of that. But yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah. And the anger thing, it's like that TikToker I talked about earlier made a point that like their theory is that all of that was going really well with Marciano and like the idea of him being a sperm donor. And then Demi found out about Jesse and him kissing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like she just blew up and like saw red, you know? And I think that makes a lot of sense because otherwise I just don't see why she would be so mad about it. I feel like if I like, I mean, I've been in situations where I've had, like professors and people like be weird towards me, and like sexually predatory. And then I found out that like they were doing it to other women
Mm-hmm.
and like other girls in other classes and things like that. And I was like, oh, like I totally believe that that happened, and
Yeah.
like some of them, like I even talked to one time that like was a girl that like had like I had already graduated and it was a girl that was currently going to school and had that same professor. And she had like, made some different choices than I had. Like I put a lot of distance between this person and been like, you're a creep. But she wasn't quite like ready to do that yet because, he was a professor, he's very powerful, and she like wasn't sure. And so she's talking to me and telling me about like going over to his house and like going to his office and like doing all these things that I would not have done because I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't look at that and go like you're disgusting and you wanted it. I'm like, no, like he's very persuasive, isn't he? Like I looked at it, I still saw her as like being a victim of his like predatory like tendencies because I I felt bad for her. I didn't see her as like somebody I would be mad at. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah, and I also, the other thing that kind of bothers me a little bit, and that I'm a little bit more so on Demi's side for, is that she says, like, I don't know why I acted how I acted. And I think that people that have gone through a trauma, like, you don't know how you're going to act until, like, you're in that position. Like, sometimes your brain does not do logical things. I is one of the things that I do, like, support with what she says. Now, I think that some of the things that happened, I think that that's kind of outside of, I don't know why I did what I did, but I think that that general statement, like, you can't explain, like, how some people react. Some people may react really viscerally to something, and some people may, you know, laugh, or some people may do like, yeah, like, everybody responds differently, and sometimes like you just can't explain why you did it, and it may not feel like it was the appropriate response for the situation. Um, yeah, so I mean, I think that if anything that is said that she said, the truthful things that I think are out of it are the part where like her husband knows about it and that's all that matters. And whenever something traumatic happens, like how you react may not always have a good and satisfying explanation.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that too. I think you put it really well that like yes, people who are in that situation like don't always act in a way that looks logical on the
Mm-hmm.
outside.
Yeah.
And sometimes they, like a fawn response is kind of what she is trying to describe, I think, where she's like, I just didn't want him to like say anything about it. So I tried to be really nice to him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like that on its own, I can totally see like if you've like been assaulted and like it's not that you like, you know, like want to be around that person or want to spend time with that person or whatever, but it's like you are afraid and so you go into a fawn response, which is like a
Mm-hmm.
true like
Yeah.
fear fight or flight kind of option.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what she did though just doesn't really fit that description. um
Yeah.
and it's just, you know, it's rough.
Yeah. And I don't know, for me, and I know that it is not fair for me to say it because don't have kids and all that, but I do have nieces and nephews, like, and I love them with all my heart. Like, the part that gets me and makes me kind of feel icky and uneasy is her sending and like like videos and stuff of her daughter and like having like that part. If something terrible happened, I would want to keep my family, like especially ones that are so extremely vulnerable, I would want to keep them so far away.
Hmm.
I wouldn't want anything. And I feel like maybe the maternal response of that, I would I would think that that would outweigh the response that doesn't make sense because you're coping with a trauma. Like, I feel like that maternal instinct would kick in above it. But I mean, again, I don't know. I have never experienced it. I don't have kids. Like, but that is something that I feel and I've heard. Like, it's just so visceral. Like, that you would just do anything to protect your kids. Like,
Right.
that's the part that kind of, I know that for you, it's like, oh, it's just because she's trying, like the Jesse thing, and then like their different relationships with the dude. But for me, like my part is like, I'm um I'm with Connor on the part about the kid. Like, I would want to keep my family as far away as possible, and that part to me doesn't line up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Um, I think it's been beat to death now.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, I think it's a shame. Do you want to move to what I wish I could say?
Yeah, let's do it. You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You can go first if you're ready.
Um, I think that I kind of already said it a little bit earlier in the episode, but and I think they already know it, but it's to Taylor of like, just leave him, drop him, don't go back to Dakota. He's a piece of crap, and he doesn't like. Yeah, I just think that do your best to find a relationship that you can be healthy in and support, and find a good co-parenting situation to have that type of relationship, and just cut him out romantically, find somebody else, like move on. Um, yeah, you don't deserve to be treated like that.
Yeah, good stuff. Um, I think I am going to talk to Connor and Whitney.
Okay.
Um, and I just want to tell both of them, you guys are really cute and you have a really beautiful partnership. And you seem like you're really good parents too. And keep it up.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I don't know if I did it wrong, but yeah.
No, you did great. No,
Okay.
that was perfect.
Okay. Mine was more serious, and yours is like, love it. Love it for you. I
It's
love that.
it's
Good. Okay.
different every time.
Okay.
So,
Good deal.
yeah.
Good deal. Yes.
Okay, awesome.